Hello and welcome in. This vlogcast episode is actually a subscriber request. She asked if I could do a video on this particular topic. How high vibrations and bright light can trigger people's darkness or demons. She says she's experienced this a lot. Weird behavior. Even in business establishments, just walking in, they are ready to hate. While I observed them being super bubbly with another customer that walked in behind me. And wow, I can overstand what you are referring to, my sister. I get it. Some people might not get it, but I get it. That light and that high vibration that you carry, that can't be taught. You're born with it. Animals can sense it out. Babies can sense it out. And fortunately and unfortunately, people of all ages, of all races, of all sexes can also sense it out. So that means people who are very loving are going to pick up on it, and people who are very hateful or hating are also going to pick up on it. And you'll notice if you watch the ID channel or a lot of those shows like I do, that's one of the first things that people say about people who have been unalived in some way. They'll say they lit up a room. And I really think that at first I used to think that maybe they were just saying that about everyone. But no, there are certain people who do light up a room. You can't fake it and you can't hide it. And you really don't want to hide it. But you just have to be very aware. If you carry that light, you have to be extremely aware, because there's always someone who sees it and who wants to dim it. And unfortunately, for those people who have lost their lives, in some cases, people seek to put that light out. I'm going to drop a picture, and I want you to look at that picture, because that picture is linked to the story that I'm about to tell you of the concert hater. A similar situation of a person seeing my light and thinking that they could dim it. So I was in New York going to a concert. I was standing on the boardwalk, and it was daylight during this time. I was standing on the boardwalk, and my husband was taking pictures of me just before we went into the concert. Now, it was far away from the concert door, but you could still, it was far, but it was close enough so that you could still see what was going on. And we were waiting for the doors to open, and there was nobody in the line. So we had decided, after I took my pictures, we were going to walk over and be the first in line. So as I approached, like I said, this was a little ways. We could still see, but it was far. So as I approached first of all, when I was taking my pictures, I noticed from afar that the person who was standing there at the little ticket gate, she looked like she was staring at me. She was looking in my direction. Now, I couldn't tell what her eyes was looking at, but I felt like she was looking at me from afar. But I wasn't sure, and I wasn't being paranoid about it either. I just said, why is she focused in on me? And I said, well, maybe she's looking at the sky or something. I don't know. So as I started to walk towards the gate, as we decided to walk towards the gate, I had my little pouch on, as you can see in the picture. And I had read the rules and regulations of the concert. You couldn't bring a big purse in there. So I'm a person that prepares. So I bought that because it fit the ramifications and the measurements of what they said that you can bring inside. So that's why I had that particular pouch on me. So I went to the gate, and as I was approaching the gate, I was still a little ways from it, where I was far. And at that moment, the girl who was standing at the ticket booth taking the tickets, she shook her head no, and like I said, we a little ways. So she kind of had to yell it. And she said, nope, 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 nope. And I looked behind me like, is she talking to me? And she said, nope, 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 nope. And at that moment, I felt it. I felt that hate. I said, she is talking about my pouch and she not going to try to let me in this. I knew it. I knew it. I knew she was looking at me. I knew she was staring at me. She was probably staring at me, taking those pictures, hating every moment, and couldn't wait to turn me down, couldn't wait to bust my bubble. Almost like, yes, she coming to this concert, so I could do something to knock her down a peg. That's how some people think. So, like I said, I'm far enough to where I'm not that close. So it's like, why you can't even measure my pouch from that far. So why are you shaking your head no and yelling at this point? She said, nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope, nope. You cannot get in here with that. And I said, you didn't even measure it. That's what I said. I said, you didn't even measure it. This is small enough to fit in there. And she was like, nope, this can't come inside. You cannot bring this inside. Trying to overtalk me. And so I took it off and I put it up into the little square. And it fit perfectly. I lied to you not. Probably a little, not even an inch stuck out from the little square measurement. And I said, really? 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 I said, so what am I supposed to do? She was like, you got to take that off. You can rent a clear pouch down there, go on down there. She was real nasty about it. And there was a guy standing behind her. And he just kind of looked defeated, like he couldn't. And I looked at him and I said, is your line open? Can you let me in? Because clearly my pouch is measuring inside. She looked at him and she said, no, he can't let you in. Just being nasty. So anyway, I had some choice words for her or whatever. I went to the little line with the clear pouches, and I was pissed at this point. And I said, I told my husband, I said, she one of them ones. I said, it's always one. I said, and sometimes he think that I'm just talking smack when I talk about this, but people who know, clearly, So I said, she one of them ones. I said, she is hating. I know it. I said, she couldn't wait to bust my bubble. How's she gonna bust my bubble from afar? She didn't even measure the daggone pouch. It's like she was waiting to hate. Like, yes, here she come. Because she didn't know I was coming to the concert. Once she saw me coming to the door, it's like she couldn't wait to seize the opportunity to turn me down. To rain on my parade, to dim my light. Because she probably saw it from afar. So anyway, we went to the little thing. I was pissed. I was like, okay, whatever. If I got to put my stuff in this little rent a pouch, I will. So, I'm in the line and I see other females coming that way pissed as well. So we get to talking and they're like, nah, she let other people in there and her bag was bigger than mine. So I don't understand. Da, da, da. And then I was talking to him and we were just kind of like, I said, come on, y'all, let's walk up there. I said, because this don't sit right with me. So I went to the front of the line and I asked the lady at the clear pouch rental line, because it was a place where you could rent a clear pouch to put your belongings in. And I said, so what happens to my purse? Now, my purse is name brand. So, I'm thinking like, I don't want nobody to steal my purse because the contents in it and the actual purse, it's looking like a lick. So she was like, well, we're going to have them in lockers. I said, well, are the lockers labeled? Do I get a key to the locker? No, you get a number. So basically, it was unorganized, very unorganized. So me and the 4 girls who I had formed an alliance with, we got together. We was like, nah, we not going out like that. I'm not turning in my purse. And at that moment, I had made up my mind. I said, I'm getting in this concert with my purse because I'm not leaving it here. It was a whole bunch of I don't knows from the people who was protecting your belongings. I don't know this. Well, I don't know. I think they give you a sticker. This is our first time doing this because this policy and the bag size just got implemented. I said, nah, no. So we walked back up there. She was still up there and we watched her. Certain people she let through, certain people she didn't. And so at this point, the females who, I had went back up there with, they was cussing her out, ready to, go to war. They was like, you let her in, but you ain't let me in. My bag is smaller than hers. So while they fussing, I told my husband, I said, all I got to do is find a man and stand in his line. All I got to do is find a man. I said, if I go to a dude, they're going to let me in. So while they was making a fuss, I saw a guy open up a line. I went and stood in a line. I had taken my purse off to put it inside the measuring squares. And while I was doing that, he was looking at me like, you don't got to do that. He said, go ahead, go. I said, okay. And I walked through the line. I looked back to motion to the girls who was fussing, and I motioned them, come on, girl. And I pointed to his line, get in his line. They got in his line and got through. No problem. No issues. None. So she was waiting and being nasty to certain females, trying to rain on our parade. Anyway, we got into the concert. We saw the girls inside the concert. They was like, yeah, I got in. And then we saw some other people with the little renter pouch. So fast forward, the concert was nice. Fast forward after the concert, big chaos afterwards. People standing in those lines, cursing, going off, going crazy because they had lost people's bags and they did not have a system to the bags. And I said, thank you, God, that I was smart enough to stand my ground. Thank you, God, that I was aware. See, I've dealt with this before. I've dealt with this in many stages of my life, of my bright light, triggering people's demons and them trying me. So that's why I had said, here we go again. She one of them ones. Because I can point them out at this point in my life. I know them. I can literally spot them a mile away, just like I spotted her a mile away. Like, someone might think like, oh, you flattering yourself. She wasn't staring at you. But I felt that. I felt that shit from afar. Why do I feel like somebody's eyes is glued on me? I look far away and somebody standing there with their hands on their hips looking in my direction. I head towards them and they shaking their head no. Ready to bust my bubble. You see what I'm saying? They are out there. They are out there. So that's that instance. And my husband has told me before, I light up a room. He has always said that. And I say, don't say that because, I'm not trying to end up on the ID channel because that's what people say on the ID channel. We joke like that. But no, some people do literally light up a room. My mom is one. She lights up a room. Now, I can see that as a person outside of myself looking on. She lights up a room. I have friends and family members who light up a room. So I know what a bright light looks like. I know what high vibration is. I can feel it. I can also relate to females in establishment speaking friendly with others, but not me. I walk through the door, it's just a bunch of stares or looking away. Somebody else walk through the door, hi, how are you? How are you? And it's totally unprovoked. Totally unprovoked. I've been on jobs where it has happened to me. I walk in along with the same person signing in. We both speak. Well, let's say they speak first. Good morning. They speak back to them. I say, good morning, also with a smile. They look away or keep looking on their computer, don't say nothing. These people feel threatened by our light. They are caught off guard by it. They can't hide it. So they try to trigger a reaction out of you. They try to transfer that negativity onto you. Now, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes they get it. Sometimes they get what they're looking for from me. Sometimes they get the smoke. And I'm working on that. Okay? Because once you piss somebody off, that's it. Sometimes I might be in a mood to talk crazy. Okay, but I'm learning that you can't always go there or do that. But it also catches me off guard. See, that's why you don't play with people. But they're trying to transfer their negative energy onto you. Like, what the hell is she so smiley and happy about? What she got going on? Or they might look at what you got on. And wish that they look like that in the clothes that you got on. Also, you got to think about the fact that some of these people are mad that they're at work while you're out enjoying yourself. Again, maybe she don't like her job. I'm not saying that that's a bad job, because some people have it and might enjoy it. I would enjoy it if I got to chill outside and just take tickets. That's an easy job. But maybe she can't stand her job. And she mad because she sees certain females out enjoying themselves. Oftentimes, they're also looking to try to size you up. And I always say it because I smile a lot and got a friendly face. I must got punk ass written across my forehead because it seems like I'm always tried. But oh baby, I can go. I can go there with you. And what I mean by that is I could talk that talk too. Okay? I'm not just going to lay down and let you say whatever. Okay? But my point is, at the end of the day, when you carry a bright light like that, it comes with the territory. Thank God for your light. Good people see it. Animals see it. I love animals. God sees it. He knows because he gave it to you. The innocent see it. So thank God for it. But when a jealous and envious person sees it, they are intimidated by you. Now listen, they're intimidated by your confidence because they are an insecure person. Because think about it. A person who is secure and confident would look at you and say, "Ooh, that's cute. I like that." Might even ask you, "Where'd you get it?" It's just a difference in the type of person it is. I'm going to talk about, for a minute, this girl that I used to work with. And I didn't even plan to talk about her, but let's bring her up. She's my Instagram friend still. But this girl, this job I was working at when I first got out of college, she would come to work every day dressing her butt off. She was so girly and so fly. Always had her makeup done. Always had her hair laid. And when I saw her, I thought she was beautiful. And I said to myself, that's going to be me one day. Once I stack my bread, that's going to be me. I'm going to get rid of all my bummy clothes. I'm going to get rid of all the stuff that I don't think is really, really cute. And I'm going to start dressing just like that. I'm going to just always be fly. I'm going to just always have a skirt on, always have some cute shoes on, always have my hair done. I said, I know that's right. That's how that's the goal. I'm trying to get there. Because at that point, I would just throw on some slacks to go to work. And I didn't feel cute. You know, I just felt like I was looking professional. But I said, no, she come to work looking like she walking down the runway. I know that's right. That's how I'm trying to look. But there were a lot of people at that job who gave her hell. And they gave her hell because she was so cute. I know what the deal is. I'm not stupid. And I don't know. I didn't really get to know her like that because we didn't work in close proximity. I would just see her in passing. But I hope she was time. And I think that she was time enough for him. Because from what I could see, she had a mouth on her and she didn't seem like she backed down. Because I heard her go off on people sometimes, you know. But that's just a perfect example of a person who also has a light. Being able to see someone else's light, because she had a light about her too. Being able to see someone else's light and not be offended by it, but instead be inspired by it. Now, sometimes you might see it and just say, oh, hey, that's another person that has a light. Or sometimes you might see it and say, oh, I like that. But only when you don't have confidence in yourself would you see something like that and want to tear it away or rip it away from somebody or bust it down or humble them. Because why? Why? That's still not going to get me to where I want to be. It's stupid and it's unnecessary. But unfortunately, a lot of people think like that. Okay, so before I ramble about that, because I know I can, I want to talk about what you can do. What can you do? Because, see, you can't go around cursing everybody out. Do not recommend. Do not recommend, because some people are crazy and you just don't know where they coming from or what they might pull out, okay? Now, I'm not saying run around scared. Speak up for yourself, but also protect yourself. And that means protect your energy. And that means that you don't want to get into a back and forth with everyone, okay? So what can you do? One, do not seek their validation. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want. Two, depending on the establishment, ask for a manager. Call it out. I've been there before where, like I said, walk into an establishment, they're friendly with one person, but then they talk to you like they know you, like you just did something to them and you don't even know them. Talk to you like trash, like whatever. Can I speak to your manager for a minute? Can I talk to your manager? Who's your manager on duty? Okay. And I'm going to say I would not recommend doing this in a food establishment unless you are done eating your food and you don't plan to go there again. Okay. Because I don't mess around with nobody that's messing with my food. But then again, if you're rude upon, greeting my table, I'm not going to eat there anyway. Or I'm going to ask for another waitress. Okay, also RBF, rest in bitch face. I'm talking to myself when I say this. Stop going everywhere with that bright, friendly smile on your face. Yeah, I'm not going to let nobody change me. I smile because I'm happy and I smile when I'm happy, but I don't necessarily have to show it right away all the time because let's just be honest. People see it as a sign of weakness and you look like a pushover when you're all smiling and giddy and all right. When people treat you rudely, like let's say, for example, you walk into an establishment, they're friendly to others, but they're not friendly to you. Okay. Your smile melts away. Wipe that smile off your face. No more politeness. No more politeness. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. Let's get to business. I want to purchase these shoes or whatever. And then you can greet the other workers nicely. I've been in situations where people have done this to me and I say, oh, okay, that's what we on. And then they come down the aisle. Can I help you? And then I'll go to someone else. Yes, sir. Can I have this in a size 5? Because, some people are working off commission. I'm not giving you my business or commission after you were rude to me. No way. So be nice to the other workers. Hey, how are you doing? Let them bring you up. Ignore the hater. The next thing I would suggest is calling corporate. I'm a corporate caller if I don't like something, okay? Because what you're not going to do is treat me rude in an establishment and think that you're going to get away with it without hearing about it again. I'm not trying to make anyone lose their job. It's not that serious. But guess what? If it's a place that I spend my money in and an establishment that I visit frequently, I go there for a reason. You're not a good fit if you're being rude. And I'm definitely going to let your boss know because, I spend my money there. And I'm not opt to spend my money there if you are there treating people badly. And I'm sure they will want to know about that. So carrying a bright light, there are going to be people whose mission is to knock you down a peg. In some cases, it's men. It's not going to be a masculine man. I will tell you that. It's never going to be a masculine man. It's always going to be a woman or a feminine man. And it's not going to be every woman. It's going to be an insecure woman or an insecure man. I learned this early on because even as a child, adults would do this to me as a kid. Unprovoked, they would be nice to other kids, but mean to me. And looking back, it had a lot to do with my bright light. My bright light. It was the people that didn't know me, it had to do with my bright light, okay, and my vibration. And for the people who did know me, they did it because they were jealous of my mother. And they were jealous of the things that my mother did for me and the things that my mother brought me. Yes, you have grown people who are jealous of children. They think that you should not be spoiled the way you are. And that will make them treat you mean. So for anyone listening to this, I don't want you to feel gaslighted when you feel like people are treating you mean out of nowhere for no reason, and people are jealous of you for no reason. I don't want you to feel gaslighted when somebody tries to tell you that that's not the case, because I'm here to tell you that is the case. I've been there. I'm there now. It still happens. It's been happening since I was a little girl. You're not imagining it. These people are trying to deflect on you. But just know that they have low self-esteem and they see that you have high self-esteem. So it is their mission and it is their only way of trying to get at you. It's their only way. They can't pull out no other stops. They don't know you. And if they do know you, they don't know what else to do. So this is their last resort, so to speak. They want to wipe that smile off your face. They want to take that light away. Because what is she so happy about? I want some of that. They're thinking, I want some of that and I don't want her to have it. So that's why you got to have your armor up. Thank y'all for listening and y'all be safe.